Hey, it's Kirk with Prismatic Powders. Today we are going to give you a couple of tips about shooting textures and wrinkles. We're going to particularly focus on the spraying technique. We are going to spray a textured powder rather than a wrinkle. We have opted to go with a zinc primer base coat. That is something that we do recommend with textures, veins, and river finishes. It's important to note we don't recommend that with wrinkle finishes. So now we're going to get into it and kind of walk you through the proper spraying technique so that you can avoid an uneven looking finish. Now, typically what we would recommend doing is making 3 passes. Of course, you're going to have to adjust your gun setup so that you're not spraying a ton of powder, but basically what you want to do is you're going to have horizontal passes overlapping 50% with your spray pattern, and then you're going to have vertical passes, again, overlapping 50%, and then you pull back and do a fog pass. Now you pull back about half the spray distance, and then you kind of fog another layer on. That covers up the potential of having striping. And we're going to do one panel correctly, and we're going to also do one incorrectly so you can see just what we mean. Gun tip selection is also important. 2 of the most commonly used are the slotted or fan tip and the round tip. Both of these tips are perfectly fine to use, but it's important to know the spray pattern characteristics of whichever one you're going to use. Round tips like this one have a round, broad pattern, kind of like a shotgun blast, and they stay pretty even throughout the spray pattern. Fan tips have a wide, more linear pattern, and they tend to spray heavier on the edges of the pattern and thinner in the center. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and start spraying here, beginning with horizontal passes and then vertical passes, and then finishing up with a diagonal fog pass. Now you'll notice when I'm spraying here that I'm incorporating into my passes a circular motion with the end of the gun here. This is going to help even the dispersion of the powder. Okay, so we've sprayed this one the correct way. Now what we're going to do is jump in and spray the other one a way that we wouldn't recommend, but a lot of people are tempted to do, and that is to spray it like they would paint, where you're just making very linear passes back and forth, no real overlap and no covering of tracks. All right, so we have these 2 panels done. This one was sprayed correctly. This one was done incorrectly. This is where we did 3 passes, horizontal, vertical, and a diagonal fog pass. This one we did very robotic, just horizontal passes. We're going to get these laid out on the table and show them side by side so that you can see the spraying technique makes a difference. So hopefully you found this video helpful. You don't have to do it exactly as we've done it here. The most important thing is that you develop a technique that works for you. Give yourself a chance to practice. If you haven't done these before, get a big piece like this, spray it out, try different gun settings, hand speed. All that is important and will affect the final outcome of the finish.